Hello and welcome back. In the previous videos, we discussed how to set up a survey for electronic consent, how to add images of your IRB approved consent form, and now we're going to talk about how exactly we will send out our questionnaire to our survey participants. So when we're getting ready to do this, the first thing we're going to actually do is we're going to click on Add Edit Records. And we're going to add a new record. Now, this is assuming that for our study's purposes, we are consenting individuals one at a time. We're reaching out to a specific individual, and we're either discussing with them by the phone or perhaps in person or directly sending it to them depending on what we've obtained IRB approval for, as opposed to something more along the lines of a general click-through, as might be the case for exempt surveys. So this is more for a clinical trial style consent process. So I'm going to click on Add New Record. I'm actually just going to go directly into my informed consent form. So just to review what we're seeing, we see our images of our individual pages. And down here at the bottom, we have information required for our participants. I've left it not required for our study personnel since they'll be coming back and witnessing after the individual has signed. So the next thing we need to do is up at the top, we have this blue button, Save and Ellipse, and perhaps yours says Save and Go to Next Form. But what you're going to do is you're going to open the drop-down arrow. We're going to click Save and Stay. And what that does is it saves that record in our project. I'm just going to say OK to this warning that there's required fields. And because it's now been saved as record ID number 1, I now have this new Survey Options button. I have basically two main options that we would concern ourselves with. Open Survey. We also have Log Out and Open Survey if we were handing our computer to another individual. Or Compose Survey Invitation, as well as get a QR code and access code. But for right now, I could click on, for example, Open Survey rather than send it to myself. But if we were sending it to a study participant, we could click on, I'll just say stay. We could click on Compose Survey Invitation. And here we can provide our subject line, when we want to send it, if there's a reminder. These would be things that the IRB would want to approve. And then down here, the message, we're able to completely customize this message. But the thing to note, this square bracketed survey link and survey URL will be the actual survey link and URL for getting to the consent form. So we're going to make sure we want both of these to appear at least once. But the rest of the message you can customize as you and the IRB have seen fit. This link you could also use to forward to the IRB to provide them with information on the IRB consent form so that they can see the actual existing REDCap form. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom and fill it out as though I was a study participant. So I'm just going to put in test, and I'll sign it. Just give it a big T for test. And I'll say I'm signing it today. And then I'm going to say next page. Actually, before I do that, I do want to make sure I'm out of this record as it was warning me to do earlier. Now everything seems to be freezing up ever so slightly. But I'll just say submit. And I'll go to project setup. That's where I am. And now I've been consented, and I could also get a copy to my own email. Now, something important to note is if I'm the study personnel, I do want to go into my user rights and make sure that I, as the person witnessing the study, have the ability to edit surveys. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my own name and edit user privileges. And here we can see for the informed consent form, I have checked off edit survey responses. And anybody who's going to be doing witnessing, you do need to have the ability to edit survey responses. And so again, that was under user rights. And then you can either click on their name or you could edit an entire role. And now I can go in, I can go to my record status dashboard. I'd have to remember what record I just created, but in this case, it's fairly obvious. I can click on the record in question and say edit response up here at the top. And then I can scroll down to the bottom and I can witness this, this consent. And there we have the process for sending out consent forms to our study participants.